and gentlemen, your Cereal City Country Band. Give them a big round of applause. Dr. Stephen White, director. Okay, a little prelude here. In just about 3 or 4 minutes, look to your sky. The Hooligan Flight Team, 3 T-34 Mentors, 1950-era military training aircraft, will make 3 passes. Now, they may not hear us, but if we wave our hands, they'll see us. I hope they see us. These Civil Air Patrol pilots are ex-military and civilian pilots who love to demonstrate historic military aircraft and their tactical formations they fly. It is their privilege and duty to be with us today to recognize and honor those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our freedom. They ask us to remember that freedom is never free. The flight team is led by Tom Hubisky from Battle Creek. Number 2 position will be Chuck Stauffer from Battle Creek. And in the number 3 position will be Bill Funko. So let's wait, and they should be arriving, if they're on time, and Civil Air Patrol always on time, at 14. Oh, look at here they are! Just as we speak. Wave your hands now, wave them! Okay, get ready. There'll be 2 more passes if you want to get your cameras ready.
You didn't catch him that first time, huh? You know what you thought?
That same way.
Special for the slow.
Yeah.
There, they're going to come from this way, they're going to come from the other way.
I think that way so you know how to take a picture.
Come from this
That
way?
way?
They're going to come back this way, they said.
I hear them.
Are they coming that way? Yeah, here they come. Here they come.
Wave your hands.
Here they come.
Hey, there they are. One more time.
They'll probably come back down across this way.
Okay, this time I want you all to scream. I know they can hear us. If we all scream.
There they come.
Well, maybe the person next to you may not want that back. Here they are, their last flyover. Wow! 234 Thank you. All right. Wasn't that great? What a great way to start our program. One more time for the Patriot Guard Legion Riders and the Iron Horse Riders for their patriotic fly-through. And again, to our own Cereal City Country Band, give them a big round of applause. Now, ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand, if you're able, for the presentation of colors, and remain standing for the invocation, the Pledge of Allegiance, and our national anthem. Pastor Floyd Carmichael will deliver the invocation. Lieutenant Commander T.R. Shaw, Jr., U.S. Navy retired, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the playing of our national anthem by the Cereal City Concert Band. Post the colors.
Or, arms. Forward, heart.
Will you pray with me? Eternal and ever-loving God, we thank you for the privilege of meeting on this hallowed day, on these hallowed ground, in this free nation to honor our noble dead, and to rededicate our lives to you and our country. We thank you that we are permitted to live through days of challenge, for the hours of the testing of our loyalty to our national heritage, and for our devotion to the high ideals for which have lived and died. Bless, O God, thousands of disabled veterans in our hospitals today, and also the homeless veterans in our land. Relieve pain, ease their suffering, and give them cheer and hope. Help us to respond gladly and generously to their needs of body and spirit. On this day of sacred memory, we ask for grace and power to live truer lives, to be better servants of the living God, finer fathers and mothers, nobler sons and daughters, and more loyal citizens of this great country and of your world. Lord, grant that we may yet see the day when war and fear of war shall no longer be, the day when peace shall become our common possession. O Lord, hear our prayer for our sakes. Amen.
Thank you for coming today. I'm proud to represent the men and women and families of the Sea Services, the Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and U.S. Flag Merchant Marine. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Present. Forward. Heart. Mark. Time. Come. Halt. Ready. Make. Post. Come. Ready. Face. Forward. Heart.
Please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the gentleman responsible for maintaining this great treasure. As director, he is responsible for all administration, burial, and maintenance operations at the cemetery. Please welcome to the podium a U.S. Air Force veteran and our new director of our Fort Custer National Cemetery, Mr. Mark Polin. And finally, they got someone the size of the position.
Thank you, Colonel Walker. Just real quick, before I got here, I talked to a few of the staff, and they had said that Colonel Walker and I would see eye to eye. I didn't really know what they meant at that time. I mean, I kind of had an idea, but then I discovered that he was Air Force, and we're both Air Force blue to the core. On behalf of the Department of Veterans Affairs, National Cemetery Administration, and the Fort Custer team, I'd like to welcome everybody to today's ceremony. It is a great honor and privilege to join you on these hallowed grounds as we pay tribute to those who made the ultimate sacrifice to preserve this land of hopes and dreams. Every minute of every hour of every day, Americans enjoy the blessings of a free nation. Blessings protected by the selfless service of men and women in uniform, standing watch over their nation, ready to defend and protect us from evil at a moment's notice. For nearly 2.5 centuries, millions of Americans' finest citizens have answered the call to duty, raising their hand to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies. And defend it they have. Every single freedom and liberty we enjoy can be traced back to the battlefield. From the battles of Lexington and Concord that gave birth to our nation, to the mountain caves in Afghanistan, where forces have rooted out terrorists, Americans have paid for our way of life by giving theirs. Today, we honor those who paid the ultimate price for me, for you, and for the country they so dearly loved. Since our nation's founding, more than 1 million lives have been laid upon the altar of freedom, a staggering number and a staggering price. While we can never repay such a debt, we can honor their memory and pledge our love and support to their families and their brothers and sisters in arms who returned from war. As President Lincoln pledged during his second inaugural address, let us strive to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for those who have borne the battle, to do all which may achieve a just and lasting peace among ourselves and for all nations. On this day particularly, our hearts go out to the spouses and loved ones of those whose lives have been changed forever by the untimely death of a veteran in service to our nation. What we can do and what we must do is remember their loved ones and their sacrifice. We must remember what they did, why they did it, and appreciate what it means to us personally and as a nation. We can honor their sacrifice by serving their brothers and sisters in arms, who also put their lives on the line to preserve our freedoms each and every day. Today, we pledge our devotion to these men and women and recommit ourselves to carrying out President Lincoln's pledge to care for those who shall have borne the battle. In closing, I remind you to join Americans everywhere for the Memorial Day National Moment of Remembrance at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Join your fellow Americans in pausing for 1 minute, wherever you may be, in an act of unity and gratitude for those who have given their lives in service to our nation. It is a moment to share and to remember. Thank you once again for joining us here today.
Thank you, Mark. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us today at this Memorial Day observance to pay tribute to those brave men and women who have given their lives in the defense of this nation. Today, as you entered this cemetery and drove down the Avenue of Flags, you couldn't help but notice the pride and respect garnered by the national treasure and the sacrifice and gratitude displayed by each flag donated by the family in honor of a fallen hero. We are so honored to fly the flag of your fallen hero. The cemetery is always appreciative and consider it an honor to accept the flag donated in honor of your loved one. And yesterday, hundreds of volunteers placed over 23,000 flags on their graves as a symbol of love and remembrance. Thank you all for remembering. We take this time today to say to the families who have loved ones buried here, as well as other cemeteries, thank you for your sacrifice, and rest assured, we will never forget. We will always remember and ask our entire nation to do the same on this Memorial Day. Before I acknowledge some of our dignitaries, let me thank the Fort Custer Flag Crew, as well as the maintenance and grounds crew, for maintaining this national treasure for our fallen comrades and their families. And always, a big thank you to our all-volunteer honor guards, who ensure our military and family members are rendered military honors upon their demise. A special thank you to all of our representatives of the military veteran organizations, which many will be introduced during the wreath-laying ceremony. If you represent a military or veteran organization, please stand or raise your hands so we can acknowledge you and all your great work you do on behalf of all of our veterans and their families. Thank you. Now I'd like to take a moment and acknowledge some of our distinguished guests. Since it's such a full program, we ask that you please hold your applause until we've introduced everyone. Our very special guest and keynote speaker, Command Chief Master Sergeant Tony L. Whitehead. Brigadier General, U.S. Army, Bob Sechrist, U.S. Army retired. I said that once, didn't I? Lieutenant Commander T.R. Shaw, Jr., Chair of the Military Affairs Committee, the Battle Creek Chamber. Mr. Mark Poland, Director of the Fort Custer National Cemetery. Mr. Floyd Carmichael, Chair of the Fort Custer National Cemetery Advisory Committee. And Ms. Nola Batch, Chair of this year's Memorial Day program. Give them a big round of applause. We can do that. And Mr. Ed Dorniff, the Acting Director here at the Battle Creek VA Hospital. We also have some distinguished guests. The 2nd District State Representative John Bison's with us. Kalamazoo County Commissioner Julie Rogers. Kalamazoo County Commissioner Tracy Hall. Kalamazoo City Commissioner Jack Urban. Calhoun County Prosecutor David Gilbert. Kalamazoo County Commissioner Mike Quinn. Calhoun County Commissioner Steve Frisbee. And Mr. Dave Morgan, Penfield Township Supervisor. Those were our distinguished guests, and we thank them all for attending. But now it's my pleasure and honor to introduce a very special honored guest, the reason why we have Memorial Day, our Gold Star families. A family member who has lost a son or daughter, spouse in combat, that paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom, and an example of why we have a Memorial Day observance. I think our Secretary of the Air Force, the Honorable Heather Wilson, said it all in a letter to all of the U.S. Air Force airmen. The families of our fallen heroes, along with our wounded and disabled veterans and their families, deserve our unwavering support every day. For the Gold Star families left behind, the hole in their hearts never heals. In every passing birthday and holiday, the pain is inescapable. This Memorial Day, let us renew our commitment as a service to ensure they are not alone. Our Gold Star families are our responsibility, and caring for them is a sacred duty. I was reminded that we have many Gold Star families from many conflicts and wars within our audience. And with the fear of missing them, they know I love them all. I'm certainly a Gold Star advocate if you've ever heard me speak. But in the fear of missing any of them, I'm going to ask all of them to stand. And stand or raise their hand so we can acknowledge and thank them
for the sacrifices they have made for all of us and the freedoms we enjoy. Please, ladies and gentlemen, our Gold Star family. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker. Chief Master Sergeant Tony L. Whitehead is the Command Chief Master Sergeant at the 127th Wing Selfridge Air National Guard Base, Michigan. His responsibilities include advising the commander of all issues affecting the health, morale, welfare, readiness, and proper utilization of enlisted personnel assigned. The wing is home to 1,700 citizen airmen operating both the A-10 and the KC-135 aircraft, as well as the host of 44 tenant organizations from all branches of the military and numerous Department of Homeland Security organizations. Nearly 4,500 active Guard, Reserve, and civilian personnel call Selfridge home. Chief Whitehead is also a facilitator for the Air National Guard Command Chief Master Sergeant Orientation Course, Joint Base San Antonio, Texas. Chief Whitehead entered the Air Force in December of 1982. His background encompasses a myriad of positions and assignments in the Security Specialist and Security Forces career field. In Operation Southern Watch, Saudi Arabia, and Enduring Freedom, Qatar, Chief Whitehead performed duties as First Sergeant, Security Force Manager, and Senior Enlisted Advisor to the 110th Area Support Group, Provost Marshal in Qatar. After serving 10 years on active duty, he took a small break in service. He was activated September 11, 2001, and served at the 125th Fighter Wing, First Sergeant with the Florida Air National Guard in Jacksonville, Florida. In April 2010, Chief Whitehead was selected as the Air National Guard Security Forces Career Field Manager, representing more than 7,300 Air National Guard defenders at the Air National Guard Readiness Center, Joint Base Andrews, Maryland. He also served as a superintendent to the Director, Installation and Mission Support for the Air National Guard on all enlisted matters. In May of 2013, he was selected as the Command Chief Master Sergeant for the Air National Guard Readiness Center, where he was the principal advisor to the commander on all enlisted matters. Recipient of numerous military awards and decorations, to include among many the Meritorious Service Medal with 2 oak leaf clusters, the Air Force Commendation Medal, the Air Force Achievement Medal, and the Global War on Terrorism Service and Expeditionary Medals. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Chief Whitehead.
I told the colonel that was impressive. I didn't know he was talking about me. Wow. Wow, I tell you what, we didn't know if the weather was going to hold up, but I tell you what, any day that we can stand and honor our men and women who gave their life to this country, it's a great day. It is indeed a great day. So I'm humbled to be standing here, as the good Reverend said, on hollow ground, because we've got our sons and our daughters here, our sons and our daughters. These are the men and women who knew what it meant to protect and defend. And for those of us who just happen to be blue suiters to my left and to my right, part of the Airman's Creed tells us that we are the guardians of freedom and justice, our nation's sword and shield, its sentry and avenger. We defend our country with our life. To my Gold Star families, thank you so much. Your warriors defended our country with their life, and for that we say thank you. Thank you. So I have a couple words, and the boss is watching me to make sure that I don't get too crazy. But it's a Sunday, so why not start with a Bible verse? And I think it's befitting for what our men and women do in uniform. John 15:13 says, "Greater love hath no man than this, than to lay down his life for his friends." Ladies and gentlemen, the men and women who lay here today, they are, again, our sons, our daughters, our dads, our moms, our cousins, our nieces, our nephews. They're our friends. We're their friends. They laid down their life for us. I tell you what, if you can't come here and feel the love for country, wow, you're missing an amazing opportunity. And I want to say this before I go any further. One of the best things I saw today, even though I love to see all of you here, is right over here, we've got a couple of we've got a young man and a young woman. They look like they're teenagers carrying our flag. That's what we need to know that needs to continue to happen. The young men and women that serve our country, they die for us. They love this country. We have to continue to serve at the youngest of ages. We have to let them know what this country means to us, each and every one of us. And that's a perfect example of what it means to us, to carry the flag. Very proud of you. So as I said, the young men and women, and some not so young, that were prepared to die for us, they knew this. And we say that protect and defend, they were prepared to do that. And it's amazing to know that the moms and the dads out here, the widows and the widowers, you had no idea just how brave those young men and women were at that time. They knew what it was going to cost. And for us who are still in uniform, who are waiting our turn, not to die, but to fight, and if we have to, we will be with them. They are with us. And if you don't believe that they're still living, think about this. The love that these families have, that they continue to strive to let people know what's going on in the lives of our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marine, Coast Guard in uniform, they still live. The fact that we have freedom today, those of us who have served and continue to serve, those of us who have family members that serve, their lives live on in us because we have a great country that we call home. And I had a colonel tell me years ago, he said, I'll tell you what, even though they're talking about a wall now, the United States is an amazing place. This is the only place where people, you never have to tell them, hey, you can't leave. No one wants to leave here, but we have people from all over the world that want to come here. That's a testament to the men and women we have, first as citizens of our country, but the men and women in uniform that make us feel safe. And no matter what's going on in the world, make no mistake, we are safe at home. We are safe at home. So I'll share these two instances of what Memorial Day means to me, and we'll get on with the program. The first was, as a first sergeant in Germany, we were doing some training, and I had an opportunity to go to Luxembourg. That was the first time in 18 years of service I had ever had an opportunity to see an American military cemetery, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful because I had never seen one before, and to see just how pristine it was. And what caught me was this, and I wanted to make sure I wrote it down so I'd have it, it says, here are recorded the names of Americans who gave their lives in the service of their country and who sleep in unknown graves. That struck me because our young men and women who didn't know what they were going to face, they were willing to give their all. They left these shores, they went to those shores, just like the ones that are doing today, to fight the good fight there so that it doesn't come to our home. That's their resting place. But like I said a few moments ago, their lives, their sacrifice, their courage, their service lives on in us. That impressed me because I felt a sense of loss and then a sense of purpose that if I'm going to wear this uniform, I need to carry the thought that these folks were willing to lay down their life for me. These, ladies and gentlemen, are our friends. The second, a little closer to home. In Florida, we had a guy, his name, we call him Doc Bargeron. He's a Sea Master Sergeant, and he and his wife, Julie, were very proud of their son, Kelly. And Kelly wanted to be a chef. And he would come out to the unit and he'd want to see our weapons and things of that nature. And he was just enthralled about what was happening to those that served. So Kelly joined the Army and he wanted to serve before he went off to school. Well, while Kelly was in Afghanistan serving, Kelly made the ultimate sacrifice. Amazing young man who had both parents. His dad was in uniform, but his mom served. She served through support and prayer, and that happens to a lot of the families, those that I see here today. This is an amazing crowd. And we should be very proud of the fact that we have young men and women that will say, hey, this is my goal, this is my dream, but part of that dream is to serve my country. Again, Kelly never made it home. And I want to leave you with something that I shared with them because they wanted to do something special for him a few years ago. And I called it Kelly's contribution. And to the Gold Star families and the rest of you, this may resonate with you. There's a young man you may never know or meet that paid the ultimate sacrifice for a restful night's sleep. His name is Kelly. He has proud parents and a loving family that miss him. He comes from a family of men who served and women that served through support and prayers. Kelly made it possible for us to continue to enjoy freedoms that are sometimes taken for granted. Kelly experienced the love of his wife, however brief, about 4 months. Kelly ensured that some may enjoy the blessings of parenthood, even though he didn't. There will be plenty of young men and women that will play a video game, but will never truly understand a call to duty. Kelly did. Kelly has taken his final combat nap among true heroes and patriots who have gladly welcomed him into a special fraternity, a place that young men of his character and courage so honorably earned. May God continue to bless each and every one of you, the families you represent, this amazing fraternity of men and women who served our country great. Let's never forget them. And may He continue to bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Chief. We will now have a musical arrangement by Mr. Don Plain.
Said, Grandpa, what's this picture here? It's all black and white. It ain't real clear. Is that you there? He said, yeah, I was 11. And times were tough back in 35. That's me and Uncle Joe just trying to survive a cotton farm in the Great Depression. And if it looks like we were scared to death, like a couple of kids just trying to save each other, you should have seen it in color. And this one was taken overseas in the middle of hell in 1943 in the wintertime. You can almost see my breath. That was my tail gunner, old Johnny McGee. He was a high school teacher from New Orleans, and he had my back right through the day we left. And if it looks like we were scared to death, like a couple of kids just trying to save each other, you should have seen it in color. Yeah, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but you can't see what those shades of gray keep covered. You should have seen it in color. And this one here is my favorite one. This is me and Grandma in the summer sun, all dressed up the day we said our vows. You can't tell it here, but it was hot that June, and that rose was red and her eyes were blue. Just look at that smile, man, I was so proud. That's the story of my life. Right there in black and white. And if it looks like we were scared to death, like a couple of kids just trying to save each other, You should have seen it in color. Yeah, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but you can't see what those shades of gray keep cover. You should have seen it in color. You should have seen it in color.
Thank you, Don. And now we'll have the laying of the wreaths followed by Amazing Grace, performed by the Kalamazoo Pipe Band. Lloyd, take it away.
At this time, we will have the service organizations place their wreath. First, the Military Order of the Purple Heart. Place yours on the right-hand side of the center. Okay.
Okay.
What? Yeah. As soon as they step away from the flagpole, start up to the flag. Military Order of the Purple Heart Auxiliary. The Gold Star Mothers, and may God bless. Up to the flagpole. Department of Michigan, VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars, and Auxiliary. From My War, Vietnam Veterans of Michigan, Chapter 73, Holland. Vietnam Veterans of Michigan, Chapter 313, Battle Creek, Calhoun County. Chapter 6. Oh, 7's not. Where's 7? DV 7, 6. DAV, Chapter 7, Disabled American Veterans. Okay. CAV, Disabled American Veterans, Chapter 6. American Legion Post 298. American Legion Post 298 Auxiliary. Are you doing this on? Go on up to the pole. American Legion Post, Sons of the American Legion, Post 298. American Legion Riders, Post 298. American Veterans, District 5. Yep. Department of Michigan, Polish Legion of American Veterans Auxiliary. The Iron Horse Riders. Sun shining, warm. Patriot Guard Riders. Daughters of the American Revolution. United Auto Workers Veterans Committee, 2093.
Thank you. The Kalamazoo Pipe Man, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Jonathan Barnes will now perform a music selection.
Thank you, Colonel Walker. And friends, if you'd like to stand together, if you wish, reach over and grab your neighbor's hand. You're welcome to sing with me. And let's just stand together and honor our men and women, our true American heroes. If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause these flags still stand for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the ones who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, oh, and New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the ones who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. To be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the ones who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt we love this land. God bless the USA.
Wow. Lee Greenwood, eat your heart out. Outstanding, Jonathan. Thank you very much. Before we close, we have a few folks and organizations we'd like to thank. First of all, our keynote speaker, a great hero in his own right. I had a chance to meet him just today. We've spoken on the phone and we've communicated, but you're the right size to be a chief, and you held to the time limit that I was giving you, so I may invite you back. But come forward here, Chief. This reads, with deep appreciation, the Fort Custer National Cemetery Advisory Committee expresses gratitude to Chief Master Sergeant Tony Whitehead, the 127th Wing Selfridge Air National Guard, for delivering an inspiring keynote address at the Program of Remembrance on 28 May 2017. Chief, please accept this on behalf of all of us here at Fort Custer. We'd like to thank, of course, all of our veterans and families for attending today. Let's give them a big warm applause. And I think it grows every year. All the organizations that provided wreaths in honor of our military family members here at Fort Custer, all of these up there, let's give them a big warm applause as well. To the Patriot Guard Riders and the Legion Riders, the Iron Horse Riders, all these beautiful flags all around us, let's give them a warm applause. And we'll make sure that our Civil Air Patrol flyover Tom Habisky and his crew are thanked on behalf of all of us. Mr. Poland and the outstanding staff here at the cemetery, give them a big warm applause. And of course, we couldn't put this program on without my boss, Miss Nola Batch, program coordinator over there. Mr. Floyd Carmichael and the Fort Custer National Cemetery Advisory Committee, thank you. Thanks to all our volunteer honor guards. The Wednesday one will participate today, but let's give all of them a big warm applause for their service to all of us. Of course, the 110th Attack Wing, the Legion Riders Group, and the Kalamazoo Pipe Band for coloring or for posting the colors. Give them a big round of applause as well. And later, taps will be rendered by Mr. John Edwards and Miss Susan Owens. Give them a warm applause as well. We thank Lieutenant Commander T.R. Shaw Jr. for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, T.R., and all the work they do with the Military Affairs Committee. And of course, our own Cereal City Concert Band. Dr. Stephen White, thank you very much for coming out. And of course, our vocalists, weren't they great? Don Plain and Jonathan Barnes did an outstanding job. Of course, all our Blue Star families and our very honored guests, our Gold Star families, let's give them another big round of applause. And I can't forget the American Legion 298 Women's Auxiliary that provides us refreshments every time we're out here on Memorial and Veterans Day. Let's give them a big warm applause over there. And to all of the great sponsors on the back of the program, we appreciate your support. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we couldn't let you leave without one of our favorite musical selections, played at both Memorial Day and Veterans Day, the Armed Forces Medley, performed by our own Cereal City Concert Band. Stand or raise your hand when you hear the service song of the branch you are serving, served, or you're a family member of one who has served. We'll see if you know the songs.
The United States Army. United States Coast Guard. The United States Marine Corps. The United States Air Force. This is a test. Who's left? The United States Navy. Your Serial City Concert Band. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will now have the rendering of military honors. A rifle salute by the Fort Custer National Cemetery Wednesday Honor Guard, followed by echo taps by John Edwards and Susan Owens, followed by Pastor Ford Keimarker with a benediction. Please be advised of the loud sounds by the gunfire.
Just a couple things I'd like to say before I give the benediction. Because of my Scottish heritage, I love the sound of bagpipes. But I know there's hundreds and thousands of people out there that can't stand the sound. But I think you'll all agree that there is no other haunting sound that is more touching than the sound of bagpipes, playing them in grace. Before the benediction, I ask that we stand here in a moment of silence to remember and reflect on this nation's heroes, their spouses, and their children that have gone before us. Almighty God, our gratitude for your generosity grows with each passing day. We acknowledge this day's special blessings. We have honored those who now enjoy your eternal embrace. We ask your blessings on all that are present here. Especially do we seek your consolation for those recently bereaved. May your grace be with them and with us now and forever. And if it be your will, may we all be favored to gather again in these circumstances and in this company before another year is passed. Amen.
Honor guard, retire the colors. A couple announcements before we conclude the program. There's a luncheon at Augusta VFW 7956 in Augusta immediately following, and refreshments will also be served at American Legion Post 298 on 20th Street in Battle Creek. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for attending today. God bless all veterans, their families, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much.
AccessVision, your voice, your community.